Greetings and welcome to my channel. This is Sorcerer Tal. You can also find me online at thesorcerersguild.com as well as on Facebook at the Sorcerers Guild. Today we are going to be returning to one of our created beings, Manitelliou. Now, for those of you that have seen the previous videos featuring Manitelliou, he is a created being that started out as an imaginary friend tulpa type being that I began working with at the age of 18. And over time, he has then evolved up from there to a bottle egregore and eventually to a marionette that then literally wandered off and came back to me eventually. And what he is a messenger spirit that provides messages from one person to another or to let you know what is going on at certain places. Over time, I have been working with him, and he is now prepared to become, I suppose one could say, a hypertulpa, because he is going to become a shared being that anyone in the guild can work with. You may have seen him on my, I'm just going to go ahead and lean it over here carefully. You may have seen him on here in the background a few times on my portal there as he was being prepared for this moment. But as of today, he is going to be available for use for any member of the guild or anyone who is watching these videos and following along with the project. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, we had to create a new body for Manitelliou. This is the new body. Not quite the same as the old one. We may eventually reattach strings, but he seems to object to the idea of strings being attached to him at this point since he wandered off. So he is now a puppet without strings for his vessel. You'll see he has little clips for his hands so that we can attach anything that he needs for the moment. At the moment he has a hand in the one as a chicken foot so that he can remove or take away things that he needs to learn to allow him to access information. And in the other hand, we have a pendulum to help him get the answer. It's 2 questions. And we've got these little feet here, which are webbed and allow him to allow him to travel across any medium or terrain, because these feet are specifically designed to be able to go across muck and mud where other feet can't walk, but they can also walk across solid land and anywhere that Manitelliou needs to go to find the answers to the questions or deliver your message. Now, of course, his name is a bit of a play on words for the name Manitelliou, but I've never actually heard him use the word man for me. So, how are we going to access, or for anyone, he's not going to come up and say, hey man. He doesn't really talk like a hippie per se. Before I saw him as a young messenger boy, like the Native Americans would have used to run a message from one village to the next. But clearly, as you can see, he no longer looks like a young boy. He looks more like a man now, and he is a traveler that will help you deliver messages from one place to the next, or excuse me, he will deliver messages from one place to the next, or help you find the answer to questions. But he is also, because of all of the traveling he has done, he is also now going to be assisting travelers. And how is he going to be doing all this? How am I opening him up to all of you? Well, the first thing we will do, if you were seeking Manitelliou, there's going to be some ritual here, but we'll get all into that, is through the Sigil. This is a sigil that any of you working along with me should have been sharing or using to some extent. But this is this sigil that we will use to contact Manitelliou. He does not have a sigil on his own that I will be giving shared. He may give you a sigil. Once you begin interacting with him, he may give you a sigil to work with him, but that will be between you and him. That is not something that is to be shared if he gives you a sigil. And it probably won't be like the ones that other people have if you do share them. I'm not sure how that would work out. That'd be interesting, but That's not something you're supposed to share, so we might probably will never find the answer to that. So, oh, just a moment. I didn't stay. That's the first time it actually fell, even though it's actually very precariously balanced there. There we are. Okay, so that is the sigil that we'll be working with. But there's more to that than this, because Manitelliou, despite being a created being, is self-aware, and therefore we have to work with Manitelliou within the realm of reciprocity. So we will be dropping dimes for Manitelliou in exchange for his messages. But before we get to that, the first thing to do is we need to give him a new cross, symbolic of the crossroads. We'll take 2 sticks and place them across each other, and this is something that actually we will be discussing quite a bit in the future, about how to make, well, I forget at the moment what the hoodoo word for these are, but it's a simple cross, a cross of 2 sticks, which can be used as a representation of the crossroads, and they are very useful in a type of thread magic where one would be doing exactly what I'm doing. We have the cross sticks that we then wrap thread around. Oh, I'm actually skipping a part because I'm so busy talking to you. But it's okay, we'll start now. Okay, so as I said, we will be dropping dimes for Manitelliou. And in order to begin this process, I am creating a crossroads, which I will then be connecting to Manitelliou to open him up. While I'm doing this, I should be singing the song that I've created. And if you want to create a fuller connection to Manitelliou, what you would do is draw that sigil, trace it in the air like so, and then take 2 sticks. Manitelliou likes green. Green is Manitelliou's color. So you take 2 sticks, hold them together, get you some green thread, and then sing the song that I'm about to sing. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Now there are a few ways to go about this crossing of the sticks, but really, in this case, the important part is simply that they are held together. If we were going to continue out in a wish pattern, like I mentioned earlier, we'd actually just be going like this, under, over, under, over, under, over, over and over again, and it will actually spiral out, creating a weaving. And with each one of these, you would be doing a wish. A way to change the pattern is that at some point in this, you then change and go over under the opposite way. You can add additional colors, each one representing a different force, but that is another video. We're going to get into that and how I work with that concept. It's probably a little different than the hoodoo concept that you were used to, because that's not where I learned it. This is something that was passed down to me. Okay, so once we have created the crossroads, drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Okay, so once that is done, we'll go ahead and tie that off. And actually, I've got quite a bit of string here, so we're going to keep going for a minute. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and tie that off. Created a bit of a bundle effect up there, which we won't typically have on the other crossroad type things we're working with, but in this one, where we're crossing back and forth quite a bit to increase that crossword potential rather than simply weaving out from. Okay, so then we will take this here. We don't want to cut that rope because of the way this is set up. We're going to have to leave that string as is. Well, actually, let me see what I can do here. Yeah, I don't see how I'm going to do that without harming anything. So, we will take the other thread coming from the crossroads and attach that down to Manitelliou. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so we'll take that thread and attach it to Manitelliou through the little hoop that he already had. And since there's so much excess, we're going to go ahead and pull that right up to here like this. And we'll go ahead and wrap it around a few more times. And this time, we will go spiraling out. Each time. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, Manitelliou. Drop a dime for Manitelliou, and he'll tell you the score. Okay, so now that's finished. And Manitelliou is ready to be put. Well, he'll be going. Let's see. You'll be able. Well, you can't quite see that. We'll put that after. We'll deal with that after the video. But there's Manitelliou finished and ready to begin hearing your messages. Not sure why he's cocked like that. Let me fix that. There we go. It's part of the reason we decided not to use strings this time is things get tangled quite often with the strings. And this way, he is more in control of himself than with as a regular marionette, and less strings to get tangled. Yeah? Okay, so if you are going to contact Manitelliou, there are a few things that you can do. If you want to go at the full process, then when you begin working with him, you will make your own crossroads. You want to start out, at least with the first couple twists, going crossways, meaning where it's an X, you're going to create your own X in the center with the string to make sure that it holds good, and then from there, you can start weaving out singing the song, drop a dime for Manitelliou, Manitelliou, drop a dime for Manitelliou. Well, you heard it. And then, when you are done, you will want a place on your altar to keep Manitelliou's dimes. Okay, this isn't like you go toss a dime out at the crossroads, like I have discussed with pennies and different things, where we take these offerings to the crossroads. You've already created the crossroads with the stick. So you'll put the stick on your altar, and you put a little vessel next to it, something small that can hold dimes. And then when it is finished, Manitelliou will tell you where to put the dimes. Yeah? And each time that you work with Manitelliou, you'll be dropping a dime. He may eventually ask you to start putting, if you're out somewhere when you need this, he may ask you to put the dime somewhere at that point. But for the most part, you make the little you make the crossroads, and then you'll put that on your altar after singing the song, and place a dime there anytime that you need his work, and sing the song once again. So that is your statement of intent. And once you sing the statement of intent, place the dime, or I suppose it's not really your statement of intent. It's your statement of intent to make contact. And then you place the dime and tell Manitelliou what it is that you wish. The message that you wish to send, or the answer that you wish to find, or if you're going on or if you're traveling, because he is going to be working with traveling. This is something he's actually reminding me of, because this is new to me as well. But he wants to work with people that are traveling and helping them travel, since he's been doing a lot of that. In that case, the method will be a bit different, in that you simply make a new cross. It won't be the same one that you put on your altar. This would be your own, that you will make at the beginning of the trip, and then you will add a wrap to it each day that you travel. Now, if you're just going for a one-day trip, you can go ahead and make the crossroads beforehand and take it with you. But if you're going 4 days, you will start it and then each day do a little bit more to it so that it is completed when you reach your destination. And you can drop dimes along the way, but in that case, the travel itself is the payment, because Manitelliou enjoys travel. So, if you are traveling, make yourself a crossroads and take it with you. Sing the song once a day and do 1 rap, and he will help you on your travels and let you know about anything that's coming up in your travels that might create a problem, or even things that you just don't want to miss. Okay? So, how is he going to answer? Right? It starts with you contacting him through the wooden crossroads, the miniature crossroads, paying your dime, asking your question, or giving your message. And on the other end, after you have paid your dime and he has found that information, he will return to you in a dream. Yeah? This is another being that is going to be communicating through dreams. He may show up slightly different than he appears here, but for the most part, this at least for me, this is quite a bit what he looks like. In fact, this is quite a bit what he looked like when he came back and asked for a new body. So this is the body that I created to look like as much like he asked for as possible. Okay. So, like I said, if we want to contact him, those are the methods that we can use. We will be discussing these sticks in a later video. I'm going to ask, honestly, I kept trying to say the name. I was a little boy when I was originally taught about that, and honestly, for some reason, I haven't made one in a long time. I don't recall another name but sticks. The more I think about it, I kept saying I know them by another name. I just know them as sticks. There's stick breaking and stick weaving. And this is stick weaving. Okay. We will discuss that in future episodes. I'm going to ask my dad and some of my uncle, because my nanny's not here to ask anymore. I'm going to ask if they know the other name. I just remembered it's weaving sticks, honestly. But hopefully I'll have a name for it. If not, we'll just call it stick weaving, or maybe we'll go with the hoodoo name. I'll have to look that up. Never really cared before right now. Anyways, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you once again for joining us. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take the opportunity to do so now. Until next time, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal. Oh, forgot a few things. I will be going live tomorrow still, hopefully. The day's turning out to be a little wild tomorrow, but I will try to be on live at 7 p.m. tomorrow. So be here for that. Join us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so, once again, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal.